Alright, so we're on our way to the gas station, get the can of kerosene filled up, get the heater going, and super snowy out here this morning. Got her in four-wheel drive because it looks like it's going to be slippy. So, there is a lot of work to be done. So, starting with even just putting the shifter knob on. So I've got the centerpiece pulled out of my shifter knob to fit the AR5 because it's a completely different attachment point there. It's got like a little half moon cutout thing where the normal standard shifter knob has got a threaded stud on it. So I had to do some modifications there. I got to fill up the differential with the limited slip gear lube, some special lube for that. I've got to fill up the AR5 with its transmission fluid, and I think it's called GL3 if I'm not mistaken. So that's a special lube for that. You can't use GL4 or GL5, so you got to watch what you're using in there, read all the instructions, read the manual, and so on. As I mentioned before, the drive shaft's all cut, it's all measured out. It had to be shortened 1 5/8 inch. All right, so that's 1.625 inches, all right, for the decimal version. And let's see what else. I've got to hook up the speedometer, and that's like that's the VSS connection, the variable speed sensor. And there's two connectors on the transmission. I actually don't know which one that is, so I got to figure that out. There's probably only one that's going to plug into, but both of them are two-prong plugs. So I'm going to take a look at that and get that hooked up. So I got a speedo. I do not have the dash in the car, so I'm probably actually going to have to use my cell phone or a tablet and get the app fired up on there and have that go through the plug-in sensor, I forget what they call that. I'm sure all you guys know. And let's see what else. But that's really only for when I'm driving it. So there's a lot to do before then. I got to get the cross member all set up. I think, as I mentioned before, there's about another inch to an inch and a half. Actually, no, about a half to 1 inch setback on the AR5 where it mounts compared to a stock transmission that fits in the 72 Nova. So I got to look at that, but there are two holes that are recessed back in the frame where I think that the cross member can set back in, but I don't think that gets me the full distance I need to be, so I might be drilling some more holes. All right, so we'll look at that, and let's see what else. Get the clutch in. That's number one. So the transmission is really just kind of being test fit right now, so I got to pull that out. Drop that out of there. So, and I have to cut down the sides of my transmission jack because the platform on the top of the transmission jack is rubbing up against the insides of the stainless headers. It's too tight of a fit. So I got to look at that, get that cut down. So I got a Sawzall to do that. So that's actually number one, get that cut down. Get that under the transmission, drop that out, get the clutch in. Get the lines hooked up to the clutch slave cylinder, which will be the first time that I've ever done that. So that's going to be an interesting learning process. And get all those hooked up. We're going to have to bleed that whole system. Probably going to have to pull in my wife here and lend a hand with that. Unless I can get to the extended bleeder while sitting in the car, which I really doubt. I guess it's possible. Pass it up through the shifter hole. I don't know. We'll see. Might have to do a little bit of crazy engineering to get that work. All right, so get that bled, get the transmission all bolted back up there, get the cross member set up in there, get the drive shaft put in, get all the fluids in and so on. And I think then I am ready to test to see the clutch is working, the rear wheels actually turn. And if that's the case, we're going to be good to go. Except that car will not be going out in this kind of weather. Not going to happen. So, sorry for that. But I do have some special plans for videotaping the first drive of the Nova out on the street. And I'm not going to tell you what that is. we're just gonna wait. Those will be the next set of videos, maybe in the next week or two. We'll see how that turns out. All right, so watch for that coming too. But today, get the clutch in, get the rear wheels turning. All right, talk to you soon. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so here's what we got. Transmission is out. Got the slave inside, that's ready to go. Of course, that's got to come off. This has got to come off to get my connector set up on there. And I got to get the bleeder connected to here. It's the extended bleeder. We're all set to go for the flywheel here. So that's going in next, and I think pretty much everything's out of the way, and let's show you what the clutch looks like. So here's what we got for the Monster Level 3 clutch. That's this bad boy right here. These are just some decals, stuff like that. That's our clutch right there. So we got to zip these babies out, pull this guy apart, flywheels on the back side. So let's get to that. All right. That's that bad boy there. Okay, looks pretty heavy duty. Looks like it's got ridges right there. All right, clutch disc. These are ceramic. Of course, I'm not going to want to touch them with my skin. I don't want any oil on those. And I'm probably going to give it a little bit of a clean anyway. All right. Right there. And oh, for a lightweight flywheel, it's heavy. So this is an 18-pound. It's that guy. And the way they got that light is this is all ground out. Okay, so if you get a good look at that, it's all nicely laser etched. That's a 18-pound LSX, made in Texas, Monster Clutch Company. All right, so this is the lighter weight version of the flywheel. That's normally 28 pounds. This one is 18. All right, so one of the things you want to do is inside here, because it was on an automatic, this gets a little gummy, rusty, whatever, so I'm going to knock the crap out of that one right there. Nice and clean. Now, that little bad boy goes in there, pilot bearing, and I'm going to knock it in with this guy right here. Okay, feels good. Okay, good to go. All right, so now we're going to clean up the flywheel and get the disc on there and the pressure plate. Worth cleaning.